Welcome to this lesson on fact families with multiplication and division. You can go ahead and write these notes inside of your composition book. So let's begin our lesson. So one word you should know is called factors. And factors are numbers that are multiplied together to get a product. So for example, 4 times 3 are factors. Because when I multiply these two together, I get a product. And the product would be 12. So 4 times 3 are factors, and 12 is a product. I can also write this another way. I can write this as 3 times 4, and my product will still be 12. So these are my factors, and this is my product. So this problem was used using multiplication. I can do the same exact problem using the same numbers, using the inverse, and the inverse just means the opposite. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we can write it like this. 12 divided by 3 equals 4. I'm using the same exact numbers that I did on the left-hand side, but I'm using the inverse now. The inverse means the opposite, so the opposite of multiplication is division. I can also write this as 12 divided by 4, and I would get 3. So these are the fact families. We know that 4 times 3 is equal to 12. We also know that 3 times 4 is equal to 12. If I use the inverse, I know that 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So now I'm going to show you an easy way to remember these fact families. I'm going to place the product, 12, on the very top. And the factors of 12 were 3 and 4. What I can do is I can say 3 times 4 is equal to 12. However, I can also say 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4. Or I can do the opposite. I can say 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3. So this little triangle shows us how the fact families are related using multiplication and division. So on this slide, let's try another fact family. I'm going to say 5 and 6 are factors, and those factors make 30. I can also say that 6 and times 5, which are still factors, make up 30 as well. So remember, these guys are called factors. The 5 and the 6 are factors, and the 30 is called the product. Okay, so that's using multiplication. Let's do the inverse now. Inverse means opposite, so the opposite of multiplication is division. I can say 30 divided by 5 is equal to 6. I use the same exact numbers, the only difference is I use the inverse, or the opposite. I can also say 30 divided by 6 is equal to 5. So let's show how these fact families are related using this triangle. I'm going to place the product of 30 on the very top, and the two factors that make 30 are 5 and 6. I know if I say 5 times 6, I get 30. Or I could say 30 divided by 5 is equal to 6. Or I could say 30 divided by 6 is equal to 5. So this triangle shows the relationship between these fact families. So go ahead and try this got it problem and see if you can create a fact family for 5 times 3, and go ahead and complete the triangle as well. So let's go ahead and try this problem. I know the other problems were a lot easier because they were simple stuff, but this is the reason why I want to show you the fact family, is because I want to work with fractions. So let's say 3/4 times 1/2 will get me the product of 3/8. I can also say 1/2 times 3/4 is still equal to 3/8. Using the inverse, which is the opposite of multiplication, which is division, I can say 3/8 divided by 3/4 will get me 1/2. Or I can say 3/8 divided by 1/2 will get me 3/4. So this shows the fact-family relationship with multiplication and division using fractions. So now let's go ahead and use this and place these items on the triangle. I know that the product, which was 3/8, will go on the very top up here. And the factors of this product were 3/4 and 1/2. Now we know that if we multiply 3/4 times 1/2, we will get 3/8. I also know if I do 3/8 divided by 3/4, I will get 1/2. In addition, I can also do 3/8 divided by 1/2 would equal 3/4. So we use the same exact concept as the previous problems, but the only difference is we're using fractions. So go ahead and try this got it problem using this fraction of multiplication, and I want to see the fact families using multiplication and division, and go ahead and place those items on the triangle below. Alright, so the reason why I showed you fact families is because I want you to be able to do a problem like this. A problem where you're missing the dividend and given the divisor and a quotient. So using the fact family tree, let's go ahead and place these items on the triangle so that we can figure out what the missing box is going to be. I know that this number is unknown, and if you remember from the previous slides, on the division problem, we would place this first number on the top of our triangle. And the products, or the factors that make up that question mark, are 2/3 and 3/4. So we know that if we multiply 2/3 times 3/4, we will get this answer. So let's go ahead and do that. 2/3 times 3/4. So after cross-canceling, my new fraction is 1/2. So I know that 1/2 goes where the question mark goes. So let's take a look at this problem. Now they're giving us the dividend, and this divisor is missing, and they're giving us the quotient. So using the triangle and the formula that we've used before, we know that the 4/5 will go on top because in the division problem, that's going to go first on the top. The empty box, which is one of the factors that make up 4/5, will go down here. It's a question mark. And the other factor is a 2. I know if I multiply the question mark and the 2, I will get 4/5. So let's use this using the inverse method. I know that these are division signs right here. So if I take 4/5 divided by 2/1, I could get my answer for the question mark. So in order to do this division problem, we need to take 4/5 times the reciprocal of 2/1, which is 1/2. We can cross cancel now, so 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. So my numerator becomes 2, and my denominator becomes 5. So this 2/5 should go where the question mark goes.